glamoring my lovely boss, Miss Angela from Takai by Angela. So we're going for purple hues, kind of like the monochromatic, type of look that's gonna accentuate the silver necklace.
My name is Angela Tamari with Takai by Angela. We are here today with Takai by Angela Good Deed Makeover Volume 4. I can't believe it's almost 4 years since Takai started this charity for the community. Takai by Angela is an online store and also a physical retail store that caters to all people. And our Good Deed Makeover is for a special someone who's going through a rough patch or has gone through a rough patch. It's just a day of pampering, a day to make her feel special, a day to change your look. And I have my usual people here with me, the Beauty Squad, Stacy Uzu with Stace Face Beauty Bar, Wana Imoga with Couture Hair One, Faith Tometi, and our recipient is Kosher Towns, and she has a great story to tell today about her life. It will be so inspiring. So I want to introduce some of the people that help us. They donate their time. They're not getting paid for this. This is just a charity thing.
Hello. My name is Faith Tometi. I'm the coordinator, the production manager for this whole total makeover. I am so excited about Miss Kosher. She is such an amazing person, and trust me, her story will inspire, will encourage, and will give you hope.
I'm going to introduce Stacy Uzu. She's always in charge of the makeup at Takai.
Hey everyone, my name is Stacy, again from Stace Face Beauty, and I want to thank you so much for including me again in the 4th edition of Good Deeds Makeover. Y'all stay tuned. Our recipient is beyond amazing, and her story is going to blow y'all mind. It's about strength, courage, and yeah, Good Deeds Makeover. Let's do it.
I'm Wana from Couture Hair, and today Kasha already has beautiful naturally curly hair, so what we're doing, we're just adding some texture to it and movement and just placing her curls. That's it. Everything else is just beautiful.
What do you think you're gonna see in the mirror?
Strength. I'm feeling really comfortable with the young ladies who did my makeup, and especially Wana, because I work with a woman. She does an amazing job, and today I'm so relaxed because of the fact that I feel comfortable with her first and foremost. I'm feeling really thankful and grateful. I'm so excited to see the finished look.
Miss Kosher. Hi.
Hello, how are you, Angela?
So we've been messing with your face and your hair, and Wana's been doing your hair, Stacey's been doing your face, and you've not seen yourself for the first time, right? Right. Have you ever had your makeup professionally done?
Once or twice by my daughter.
By your daughter. So this is somebody completely different that has your face beat, right?
Yes, yes.
So feel free to react whichever way you feel, good or bad. Just let me know what you feel when I hand you over this mirror. Let me make sure this is the right side. Okay? Okay. All right, so this is your face.
Oh, wow. This is amazing. Oh my God, this is beautiful. You did a great job. Okay, I'm not gonna lie. Thank you so much. This is beautiful.
You are beautiful, and you are a player of strength. Stay tuned for her next reveal, which is the first look from here at Takai by Angela.
I am wearing a wonderful custom-made dress by Takai, and the hat is a fascinator. The accessories are blue, silver, custom jewelry, and it's accompanied by this beautiful, lovely dress. The My name is Kasha Towns, and I am a survivor. I am a victim of domestic violence, and I am a survivor of abuse. At the tender age of 23 months old, my father murdered my mom, and I was found sitting in my mother's blood. At that time, I transitioned to live with my grandmother. She was a wonderful woman. She took care of me as much as she could. And after that, she couldn't do it anymore because a lot of turmoil was going on in my life. And I ended up transitioning again. I transitioned into the hands of the man who had murdered my mom, and that was my father. My father was very abusive. He abused me, and I was molested by my father. And after that, I transitioned again to move back with my grandmother. And I was so angry and bitter, she couldn't handle me and sent me to the foster care system at the age of 12 years old. I didn't leave the foster care system until I was 17 years old. As I exited, I transitioned again. I lived with some family members. The abuse took a toll on my life from the age of 23 months old, not knowing and not understanding the abuse. I entered into a relationship with a man who was abusive as well. I stayed in that abusive marriage for 17 years, and I transitioned out of that to a whole different state. That's where I met, or the Lord, I would say. He came into my heart because I didn't understand what was happening in my life. I was homeless. I went through a lot, but by the grace of God, He had His hands on me. He gave me hope. He showed me that everything that I went through, it wasn't for me. It was for me to go back and help others. One day, I was preparing myself for school, and my father, he was very upset. What he was doing was, he was very manipulative, and my grandmother didn't know, or she didn't tell me that this was the person who had murdered my mom. But living with him, I was very angry because he would abuse me. He would sexually abuse me a lot. So I didn't understand because I was so young. One day I was going to school and I was coming back home, and I went to the neighbor's home. We were watching television, and this is what my dad did. And he looked at me and he called his wife in and said, "Babe, come in." And she came in and he said, "Something is happening." And that's when I knew, because my neighbors, they spoke to me and they said to me, "Baby, that's something that's not supposed to happen." So I knew then that I was being abused and it was wrong. So it happened again, and I ended up jumping out of a 2-story window, getting away from my father, because the abuse was continual abuse. It was every other night, and I grew hatred towards so many people because of that incident. So I was moved back to my grandmother's home, and I'm sure she didn't understand the hurt that was going on. I acted out so much that she couldn't deal with the anger and the disrespect, because that was my way of trying to get her to see that something was wrong. You may not know that something is happening, but you have to watch the signs. She was so angry with me, she packed a toothbrush and she took me and she drove me to this place and she dropped me off. And I didn't see her until I was 17 years old. She dropped me off at the Salvation Army girls' home for bad kids. In my mind, I'm thinking I'm not bad, I'm angry. So I acted out a lot. I acted out all the way up until I was released from the system. And when they released me, I ended up going with a family member and stayed with my family member. From the time that I transitioned from the Salvation Army, I moved 4 times from different transitional homes and group homes until the age of 17 years old. Still filled with anger, abandonment issues. I was so upset with everyone in my family, everyone, because I had siblings. And when I transitioned to one of the homes of one of my siblings, I stayed with her for maybe about a year, and I ended up homeless again. I met this young man. He was a really great guy, and we dated, and then the abuse started. The abuse, you may not think it's abuse with the, the pushing and the, I love you the next time, and the abusive language, putting you down. All of those things take a toll on you, especially knowing that where I came from, it was, to me, I didn't understand, but I loved him anyway. So I went from there, from that abusive relationship for 6 years, verbal abuse, physical abuse, to right into a whole nother relationship with a man that I knew that loved me. After a while, it turned into the same abuse. So these were patterns of abuse that we go through when you don't know who you are. And it was abuse to where, verbal, you fat, or, I don't like your hair, making you feel that you were not worthy. And I did that for 17 years of abuse. And one day, I just said enough. I will go to the salon, because I am a hairstylist. I would go to work with a black eye, busted lip, just hurting all over. And I could not tell anyone that story, but they saw the abuse, but nobody reacted. And it went on for years. And it was to the point to where I gave up my business, and I not only left him, I left the state, and I moved to a different state. When I transitioned to this is another transition. So in my heart, I have transitioned all my life until I got saved. I heard God call my name. I heard him when he said, it's time for you to understand your purpose, why you went through these things. The abuse was so bad, I couldn't forgive. I couldn't forgive my grandmother. I couldn't forgive my family members. I couldn't forgive my father. It took a lot for me to understand. What are you saying? Are you saying forgive these people for abandoning me, abusing me? I didn't understand. And one day he said, I need you to forgive in order for me to help you understand your path, where you're going, and what I have for you to do for me. And I fought him, and I was totally disobedient because I didn't understand what God was speaking. And one day I said yes. And when I said yes to God, that's when the turmoil started in my new path. My house caught a fire. I lost everything. I ended up homeless again. That was another transition. So I'm wrestling with God, saying, are you serious? This is what you telling me to do? You said this, but now I'm still going through. My daughter was in a terrible accident. It was just one thing after the other when I said yes. So I'm still wrestling with God because of all the things of my past. So I did. I sought out counseling because you need counseling. People don't realize when you're going through so much and you want to know why, you need to get help. I sought counseling, and she pointed out the things that was going on in my life. She said, you suffer from abandonment. So many things she pointed out. She said, until you forgive, you will never be able to move past where you are in your life. And I started to forgive. I started to forgive my father. She said, start off with your father. I started to forgive my father for the abuse. I asked God for forgiveness for his father and his father's father. Just started to call out people's names that tied into that family, because I realized it was a generational curse and it had followed me. And because I said yes to God, to him calling my name, it didn't make it easier, but I knew that it was something behind the yes. And he said, if you serve me, I will show you something different. So I entered into another relationship for 4 years, and the relationship I thought was something different, but those patterns came creeping back of abuse, mental abuse, not physical abuse, but mental abuse. So until you seek out that help to understand why you're going through that abuse, you will continue to go through those different patterns in your life of attracting the same type of person that your father.
To hold down the tears so that people can enroll.
I understood that God had a purpose for me. I went through those different transitions and the things that happened in my past because He had a purpose for me. Not understanding while going through that purpose, and it was really hard. But coming out of that pain and out of the transitions, getting the help, getting counseling, knowing that you are going through, you have to tell somebody. Tell somebody that you're going through and you're hurting and you're dealing with different situations in your life. That's the only way that someone can help you. You have to reach out. Getting to understand that, it helped me to identify who I was and who I belong to. God said He is the author of all things. And I went through everything that I went through because it was my resume to come back to help other people. I took that and I prayed for a long time that He would deliver me. He said, as long as you're going in my path, you're gonna have trials and tribulations, and it's gonna always come, but I want you to know that I love you. I got through those hard times, and I'm standing here today only by His grace and knowing that I was the bold one. Out of 7 siblings, I was the one who spoke out. I screamed out. He said, I can use you. I realized going through that, I'm helping my mother, and I'm standing in the gap because she was murdered and she didn't get a chance to tell anyone. But I will. I will tell anyone. If you're hurting, if you are in an abusive situation, you can't get out, tell someone. I thank God because I'm able now to help others. Going through that transition allowed me to identify some things in my life that needed to be fixed, that I know that was broken. And I give God all the credit for it. He spoke to me 2008, and He said, I want you to go back and let my people go so they can serve me. And I said, I don't have what it takes to do it. He said, yes, you do. You have everything it takes. You've been through so much, and I brought you through that. No, Kasha, I carried you through that. I carried you through all the trials and tribulations, because who better else could understand those young women who gonna go through those things. You understand those things, so you can help other people get through their pain and their hurt. So He gave me a More Transitional Group. A More Transitional Group is a faith-based nonprofit organization that mentor and teaches life skills to young girls that's exiting out of the foster care system, who need that guidance and a place to call home, and someone who understands the hurt and the pain and help them get to the resources that they need to make them better for themselves and understand their worth, and to also identify the issue and give God the glory and not be so angry with themselves. So that's the reason why I went through what I went through, because it wasn't for me. It wasn't for me. And I thank you guys for listening to my story. My name is Kasha Towns.
end of this Takai by Angela's Good Deeds Makeover. It was a fantastic one. I hope you enjoyed it. Right now we're gonna call on Kasha Towns to tell us more about how she felt during the makeover and also to present her gifts to her. So, how was your experience with the Good Deed Makeover, Takai by Angela's Good Deed Makeover?
It was a wonderful experience, and I just want to thank Angela with Takai by Angela. I want to thank Miss Faith. I want to thank Stay's Face for making my face just so beautiful. And I want to thank Juana Couture giving me the opportunity to express and give, to tell my story so I could be able to help other people. So I'm just so grateful right now, and I thank you guys so much just for allowing me to share that today. Absolute, just wonderful experience.
Thank you. So we had a great time too listening to you. I mean, your story is very inspiring. To think that you can go all through that and still, persevere and try to help other people instead of drowning in depression or anger. So I commend you and I thank God for your life. And I'm happy to be part of your life. I'm happy to have made a little impact in your life. I know you'll be going places and you're going to be helping people a lot. At this time, I'm going to call Faith Tometi to present all her gifts to her. Come on, Faith. Yay. So she gets all of her clothes and all the accessories that she likes. And we are so happy to give you everything. And in addition to that, Waterworks. I call her Waterworks because she will cry for everything. She is so grateful and so happy and so, I don't know. She's just great. So I'm gonna present to you a little check. I told you no crying.
No crying.
A little check. This is for you to buy something for you.
Thank you so much.
You've been through so much, and for you to try and inspire somebody else out of this whole thing is just amazing.
Oh my God.
So you're the reason I do what I do, here at Takai. I always want to impact somebody and have them tell their story and give back to the community. So at this time, I also want to thank Stacy Uzu, Stay's Face Beautiful, and I also want to thank Wana Morgan. She's the best. Look at my hair; it is so gorgeous. So this is it till volume 5. So thank you very much for watching.
Once again, I want to thank Takai by Angela Boutique here in Cedar Hill, Texas, for allowing me to be able to express, how I'm feeling and my story. And I want to be able to share my information in case anyone out there who heard this story, who was listening, having any type of difficulties in expressing, how they feel to other people. You can contact me at 214-374-9387, or you can be able to email me at ctowns@amoretransitionalgroup.org. It is a faith-based nonprofit organization that mentor and teaches life skills to young girls that's exiting out of the foster care system and young women who have experienced what I have experienced, and I am able to give back just a little to help them and encourage them to move forward in their lives. And I thank you so much.
It's been an amazing and awesome time right here at Takai by Angela on the 4th volume of her Good Deeds Makeover. Oh my goodness, what a great and successful day. I mean, Takai has proven again and again how much she has, how much God has placed in her heart to be a blessing to the community and to the state in general. People have been blessed by her gifts by this Good Deed Makeover. We just witnessed an amazing section. It's been a blessing. I just want to thank her so much for making me, VMP, to be part of this wonders. And we pray that this will continue and God will continue to bless her more and more. Yeah.
Hey everyone, thank you so much again for tuning in to the 4th volume of Good Deeds Makeover. Again, we want to thank Miss Angela and the whole Takai by Angela organization, including her husband, her children, because, I mean, like, she's a mom. She doesn't have to be here. But thank you so much for letting us borrow her. May God continue to bless Miss Angela, because those who bless us will also bless others. So she's also teaching me as a young woman to always bless people, because, I mean, you know, look what she has. I mean, she can, you know, go ahead and keep it to herself, but she's giving it to other people. So thank you again. Y'all tune in. The 5th edition is going to be bigger and better. And until next time.